thank you so much for coming for today's watering hole. I think we're on the fourth or fifth one. As you saw in the announcement, this watering hole's animals are going to be hunting outside and finally settle on a different kind of watering hole, which we're going to be walking to the first floor into 3D Studio Lab. So yeah, welcome everyone for joining us. For the first thing, I'm going to send an announcement for next week, which is going to be a gallery exhibition for the winning team, team that I was part of, for the NASA Mars XR Challenge. So we're going to just pass them around.
And that's what's showing on the screen?
Yes, those are the assets that we built in 3D.
Those are the equipment and supplies that we built.
Yes, the equipment and tools that we built for NASA astronauts in VR for a challenge for which around 4,000 teams globally were competing. Winning team made it to the number 13
out of 4,000.
we did really well this summer, and we're going to have a gallery exhibition where you will be able to get on the headset.
Can you show us some of the assets there?
Yeah, those are the assets here. Oh yeah, and we're also
here, right?
We 3D printed the assets that we built in VR. For example, this will appear shortly there. This is a hauler used to carry heavy equipment in Mars. And it should appear there shortly.
Okay, that was the most interesting one. So if you break your leg on Mars, how do you keep walking? You're in a spacesuit. And it turned out NASA never thought about astronauts might break their leg on Mars in a spacesuit. So they built this. I don't think you 3D printed yet.
The cast, I'm 3D printing in my
The leg cast.
We'll be ready for the exhibition. So yeah, you can join us. We'll have a little bit of outer space experience.
How many people in the group?
It was 4 of us. Five.
But
Five
then, after they did very well in the competition, where's the cell phone cover?
Oh, yeah, we'll be talking more detail about it. I think the next one is a hauler during the presentation, but we just went crazy and also 3D printed Mars, the surface of Mars.
So this is accurate photography of the surface of Mars. And so close your eyes.
It is as close as it can
It's
get.
amazing. I've seen those with you.
And soon we're going to be, that's the color.
Absolutely accurate photography.
Your sign, everyone's just looking at. So yeah,
Dog.
we're really excited.
But that's the jumping dog.
Yeah, that's supposed to help carry
Oh, this is the
astronauts.
greenhouse.
That's the plants that you get inside the greenhouse. More symbolically. Yeah. All right, so
So you
now,
have to, they can't live outside by themselves, so you have to build a greenhouse for each plant.
and the next part of this would be to 3D print chocolate bars with Martian terrain.
No, we're going to get the Mars company to finance the next step of the project.
Yeah, we're gonna get NASA actually. Yeah, look at NASA. That worked perfectly. Yeah. So as usual for this new iteration of watering holes, I'll start with a question, and this one is going to be a little bit more interactive in a way. The question for this watering hole is, what is your favorite piece of artwork? And it could be a piece of music, it could be a painting, it could be a performance. And I'll quickly search it and just play it, put it on the display. So Aiden?
Okay.
And also who you are and just a few sentences of what you do.
Okay, my name is Aiden Acuna. I'm kind of a member of this lab in some regard, volunteering mostly. And my favorite piece of art, which might be a little bit graphic, not really, but a little bit much for this, is I want to say it's called Strange Fruit or Strange Looking Fruit. I know it's like the song, but it's actually a painting by an artist in, I want to say, Texas, who made paintings of like Hispanic people, hanging but not with a rope, just in like physical kind of position.
Okay, strange fruit hanging Hispanics.
Because
might get it.
supposed to represent.
What's the name of it? Sorry.
What's it?
Hanging fruits.
But yeah, it's supposed to represent the horrible massacres that took place in the early 20th century of Hispanic people in Texas. Yeah.
We're not seeing your computer
Yeah,
screen.
he's looking for it. That's part of the promotion.
Well, no, but can you show it on the screen?
Yeah, you'll show with my approach. Yeah, you can keep looking, getting dizzy watching the assets.
Here we go.
Come on. Is it?
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. Just
You find it?
Yeah, I found it, and I personally like it because it is some representation for a historical event that doesn't get talked a lot about, but is relevant to me.
Where is it? Where is it?
There's some of the paintings are in Austin, where I'm from, at the Blanton Museum, and that's personally where I've seen these paintings. Yeah.
Can you expand the image somehow? So each one of these is a hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's supposed to represent the 500 to, it's 300 to 5,000 estimated Tejano and Mexican individuals who were murdered during the early 20th century.
All right. We'll continue talking about it later, but we're going to keep moving.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you. Nisha?
Hi, so my name is Nisha. I'm a grad student at UTD pursuing a master's in computer science, and I work with Professor Judd on his research project. So my favorite piece of art would probably be this one room at Hopscotch, San Antonio. So there's telephones across the room, and you just go in and tell your secret, and a month later, those secrets are played anonymously for other random people who just step into that room. So I found that really
Can you help me find it?
Yes.
And you're giving us all thinking time to come up with our
It's very embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. And yes, pornography can be your favorite art.
No, it was like,
Well,
well, nothing.
Well, no, it's not the favorite. It's a
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that you
of course.
like.
It could be anything, any medium. Okay.
That's fine. I'm going to use the first picture.
Okay, next.
They do have just a great picture.
No, but we're going to be starting either an Instagram or a YouTube channel. Evan's not here, where we just have everybody's an artwork that each of you like. So that it's kind of like a playlist, but a playlist of videos and images and sounds.
So, we'll be next. Misal.
Hello everyone, I'm Misal. I study Masters in Finance here at the Business School. I'm the financial coordinator for the Art Sci Lab, and the one piece of art that I like, I don't have much knowledge in that segment. So I like the classics. I don't know local artists. I can't do anything about it.
Maybe a song or...
Anything.
There are a lot of songs, so I can't I can't pick one. That's a Starry Night by,
Okay.
so and because I read into it, I came to know that it was made when Leonardo was in a mental asylum, and he could look outside and he could see this.
No. Van Gogh, not Leonardo.
Oh my God, sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, Van Gogh was in a mental asylum and he died there.
And I lived for 20 years very close to where he lived. And I actually visited his bedroom, and you could look out the window and I saw what he saw. You had to be high, but or mad in his case. No, he was
in a
diagnosed-
mental asylum, so.
Yeah, and he at some point cut off his ear, thinking that, come on in, join us. Please. This is just the beginning. Come on in. Okay, so what we're doing, Alejandro, please can you come on in?
Yes, we'll see is aware of the watering hole. Right now we're presenting ourselves and just brief sentences of what we do and our favorite artwork. And I'll
Favorite artwork. So just keep thinking. Some of us have been thinking for a few minutes.
And I'll see if I can find it online. Roger, you next.
So my favorite, no, one of the artworks.
Who you are to do.
What?
We know you.
Oh, I'm Roger Molina. I'm the co-director of this lab. I'm a recovering astrophysicist. I still look up at the sky to get drunk with joy. One of the artworks that really changed my mind, actually I can think of two of them. One is by an artist called Char Davies, C-H-A-R Davies, D-A-V-I-E-S. The work that screwed up my mind was called Osmose, O-S-M-O-S-E. And if that's not enough for you to find it, fire the Google Assistant. Char Davies Osmose. 1995, remember?
Do not buy soap.
Sorry.
You found it, right?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay. So, it was virtual reality piece in 1995. So it was a little bit heavy to wear, but you can turn the sound off, I don't think. But several things just were, so she had built it that that you had to wear a vest, and if you wanted to go up in the virtual world, you breathed in. If you wanted to go down, you breathed out, so you could go up and down. And if you wanted to move around the virtual world, she had whatever it's called, and if you leant forward, you went forward in the world, and if you leant backwards, you went backwards in the world. So just by breathing and wobbling around, you navigated through the virtual world. And
Good exercise for lungs.
well, you can see, and for a while it was sort of boring, but then she said, breathe in, go as high as you can. So I went up, and suddenly the colors became a dreamscape with sort of things floating through my perception. I mean, talk about cheap drugs. No, I mean, really, it was an experience like none that I'd had in physical space. And there's very little VR that does that to me. So, anyway, she's putting the heavy equipment on. And unfortunately, she's a colleague and friend of mine. She was so successful as a digital artist that she got total carpal tunnel syndrome in both hands and all fingers, and she could never type again. So she was then the world expert on voice to text and text to voice, and this was in the late 1990s before you could buy it. Okay, thank you, Alejandro.
Thank you. Marco.
Okay, Marco Nardelli from the University of North Texas, Physics and Composition. So I'm a composer and a former physicist.
You're a recovering physicist. Oh my goodness, we should go drinking together.
Well, I can think of a few that kind of impressed me very much in recent years. There is one in particular that was shown at the Nasher as the sound sculptures of Harry Montoya.
Harry Montoya,
who besides the name is actually Italian. It's from something like that.
Harry Montoya, M-O-N-T-O-Y.
This sound sculpture, there should be some videos, but basically, the thing is that you create sounds that you thought were possible only electronically, and instead they are real. And it's like, oh.
You mean you were making guitar sounds with your voice?
No, these are all, you see them, they're very simple. They're columns.
Introduce.
Is it Bertoya?
Montoya, not
Yeah,
Montoya.
B-E-R.
Bertoya, yes.
Bertoya.
Bertoya. They're like this.
So I think that they put material there.
They're like bundles of metallic pipes or bars, and there should be also some
Sounding sculptures, yeah, I
sound
remember
sculptures,
that period.
Sweet.
like something like this. And I mean, you can go online. There are recordings of this. You can hear them. It's a completely different experience.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you. How are you?
Me? I'm working now.
You're doing homework.
Chris. Yeah, Chris is heading out as well.
Yeah.
Running away.
No, don't go away.
I gotta run. I've got
Let me
stuff to do.
introduce Chinese artist, American Chinese or Chinese American, I don't know.
Yeah.
Guo Changcai.
You got it.
He is my favorite.
I hope you're saving these links.
Yeah.
As there.
It'd be interesting to do an exhibit in the gallery, just, you know, with people's artwork that
He
they
is
came
an
up with.
artist and he focuses. His art language is fireworks.
Fireworks. Oh,
Yeah.
Super cool.
I know him,
Super.
yeah.
He make like art project in everywhere, in many beautiful cities. Yeah.
So yeah, he puts out a canvas on the ground and then explodes things on it.
And some of his art projects are really fireworks in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
daytime, not at night. Maybe we
Okay,
can
very good.
Was it Scott rather French? Was
Maybe
it?
we can.
Yes. Jean-Marc Hubert
We can search
Yes,
in
some
Marseille.
project.
Exactly, in Marseille. They said, I have to introduce to him when you go to Marseille, and he never did.
Yeah.
So just whilst they're getting ready, so there's a quantum physicist called Jim Chemsevsky that was doing a science in residence in Marseille, where I work. And we introduced him to the world's leading fireworks artist, French one anyway. He was invited to Vietnam, to Beijing to do fireworks shows. And they decided to work on the smallest firework ever invented. So the question is, how small a piece of gunpowder will explode? A grain of sand? Piece of hair? And they figured out, published it, and this goddamn fireworks artist is now the co-author on the scientific article on the smallest explosion you can make with fireworks powder. Okay. Very good. No, very good. We got it. Oh my God, it just looks like Andrew Scott's studio. I don't think he'd get health and safety approval here. Okay,
All right.
next.
Next we have Val.
Oh, me?
Yeah, who are you and what is
Right.
one of your favorite artworks that you have looked at or done?
Who are you?
So I have a lot of like favorite artists, but like if say something about my Vietnam, I'm thinking a lot about the material, like a lot of Vietnamese artists they work with that.
Can I find it?
Yeah, so like, but like why I want to show that because yeah. This one is kind of like the different like the technical skill they work with like the it's the painting, but like the something like it's really dangerous with like the artist because like when they work with that they like their skin like poisonic and they make like really like damage like their skin. But like why they work with that because first they have passion with that, and the second because like foreigner
people they love this one, then they will be buy this one with a high money. And because like artists they want to be have can make the money.
Dangerous art.
But like they make like something dangerous that then sell,
Yeah.
re-aid the artwork, and I kind of feel, I don't know, I just feel really. It's just like when I'm just when the play they work with that, they have like the kind of big house and a lot of stuff like the big box, and they just mix material, and this one it takes a lot of stuff like step by step to finish this one, and a lot of stuff like the artists they really some women they have like the children, they have the children, they have the pregnant, and they kind of like really like the bad thing for them because like they make them feel really sad, like really like sick about this one. But I don't know, I'm kind of feel like I'm told them like, why you still continue work with that? Maybe we can thinking about something better. Like find a chemical is better. But I tell no way, just have a one way to do this one. And this one, the foreigner love this one because it's some traditional in Vietnam.
Nice.
See, it's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And the surface, if you can touch on this, it's really like I don't know how to say, but like it's really different. The touch. The different the surface.
Texture.
Yeah, the texture is really like different,
Sweet.
but it's like helpful.
Oh, could
They
you-
need to make like themselves to be pay themselves to be create the art.
Nice.
So something I just want
Okay.
to
Can you
share.
also remind us who you are and what do you study here?
My name is Bảo Trân and I'm first year MFA student. My focus in creative art practice.
Creative artist. Thank you.
Okay, next.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And this is my professor.
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm new. I'm Kevin Sweet. I'm an assistant professor of design and interactive arts with a focus on immersive experiences. In terms of artworks, just because you referenced Harry Bertoia, I love this form of thinking about sound art. Panuccio's Sciollo
Oh, yeah.
with the sounding stones.
Mm-hmm.
Astoundingly beautiful, thinking about making the material of objects sing, is by far one of my favorites.
You mean to give the stones a voice?
In a way. I mean, it really does kind of lead to these questions like, oh,
Yeah.
does this say anything about the stones, or does it say something about us?
Wow.
So really, if you have the opportunity to listen to these stones becoming activated, highly recommend it.
I'm the director of interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary.
Oh, we're getting a familiar ad. But in terms of more contemporary artists that I'm really excited about, and I'm working on research with him, Philip David Stearns is really exciting. He transforms digital glitch into textiles, and he creates performances out of attacking himself with spyware over
With
public
spyware.
Yeah, with public Wi-Fi, over public Wi-Fi. So really interesting work.
Okay, so I think we're gonna have to, oh, they're the stones.
There's stones. So it's Philip David Stern, right?
Yes.
And what was the art called?
Synact. Is one of the pieces.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. We're just gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't spell names, but.
That's okay.
Thank you for joining us. It was a watering hole. Hopefully you enjoy it. Now the next thing that we'll do is going to be the hanging of the painting of Haoyi.
Okay, so this is now public hanging, and
Wrong word.
I've been asked to be the hangman. So Haoyi Song took a graduate seminar that I was teaching with Tom Riccio 2 years ago maybe, about simulated reality was the topic. So how do scientists know what's real? Positivism, that table is real because when I hit it, it makes a sound each time. Tom Riccio is more from indigenous cultures, but also mysticism. You know, God is real for some people. And a lot of the discussion then was about the metaverse. And so we decided to assign to the students to write a manifesto for the metaverse. We got 20 manifestos, and Haoyi Song came sadly to me, "Sir, I don't want to write a manifesto, can I paint one?" I said, "Of course." And she painted this manifesto for the metaverse. It's the Great Wall of China made out of QR codes and digital bits. And there are people trying to get into China and out of China at the same time. And she said, "In Dallas, I'm not allowed to use TikTok. In China, I'm not allowed to use Facebook. I'm on both sides of the Great Wall of China."
Yeah, it's so sad today. I can't use the campus Wi-Fi to access a Chinese
Friends.
app called WeChat, a most popular app for Chinese people today. UTD banned this application for Chinese
So it's a Great
people.
Wall on this campus.
Yeah, it's so sad. Even anger.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to do this in a slightly different way. Are you ready to change places?
Yeah.
Okay. Haoyi is going to carry the painting we're going to hang.
Chairs, so make yourself comfortable.
Lights up there.
We're not formal around here.
Sit over here.
Get in where you fit in. And we have tons of chairs, grab a chair, pull up to the bumper, a long black limousine, pull up.
While you do that, I mean, I thought it was a game for those who were not on This is Marco Nardelli. No, front. This is an immersive experience. If you're here, you don't enjoy it. You don't
Over there. Sit there. Okay. Professor, take charge. All right.
immersive. All of you. Move I mean, you can move it so that you can face the projection.
You gotta hold their hand, sorry.
Okay, so I'm a professor of composition and physics at the University of Texas, and I'm a composer and an installation artist. I do a lot of work that combines art and science, and the piece that we're going to start now with Andrew from the beginning.
Okay. Oh, Vic, give me a...
This piece is actually was received for immersive room installation in Milan at the Mini Digital Art Center. And this is a collaboration between myself as a composer, so the music that you're going to hear is my music, and a group of video artists, Alice Grishenko and Gabor Kitzinger, that are part of an art science lab, like this one here in Art that is led by a famous neuroscientist, Laszlo Balabasi, who's a common friend with and so this is the result of this collaboration, one of the collaboration we had with us. And I'll talk more about the connection that you see between the images and the music, because there is a very, very, very strict connection. Although the music is not written, you don't look at this as a video music clip. So the music doesn't really go synchronized with the images, but the conceptual form of the music reflects what we're going to see in the screen. So let's look at this first and enjoy this. It's a 15-minute performance, and then I'll talk more about the background, what's behind. So 3, 2, 1, go. realization of this come from really looking at music from a perspective that is not a perspective of a composer or a musician or a music theorist, but a perspective of somebody who works with data and made sense of data, and from there looking at the complexity of this data and using techniques from physics, mathematics, and complexity science to become this particular lens. So the title of this lecture is Music for Martians, and I mean, this is a lecture that I typically give for when I do, kind of popular audiences, not scholars. I mean, it's kind of a motivation for this talk, but what I mean with this, and you see it, is that if we abstract from the structure and the theories of music, and we look at it from a higher point of view, it becomes something that is even more universal than it is. So the story, I cut it short because many of you might be familiar with the story of this, and for sure Roger is. Starts in 1977 when the Voyager 1 was sent in space with the idea of reaching the farthest.
Would you like to have this up here?
You can move it there? Yeah. Anyway, while I do this, I can keep going. So, with the idea of reaching the farthest boundaries of the solar system, and eventually became one of the most successful missions in the history of science because it's still going way farther than expected initially, and we are still receiving data, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
We're receiving data for some other time before we get lost. But one of the interesting things that is pertinent to this presentation is that among all the instruments that were installed on the Voyager, they put 2 gold discs on the body of the spaceship, and this gold disc actually has a recording of earthly sounds, and so there is a side of the disc that has a recording of city noise or people talking or sound of nature and things like that. And the other one has music of the world. And so there is a collection of, that's not me, or maybe it's me, but something is
Oh, it's running on its own.
okay.
I'm getting too smart.
And so the question that I ask myself is, and on this list there are instructions in kind of symbolic form, of course not written instruction, but there are images that should be kind of conducive to understanding how to use these discs, but from a point of view of an advanced civilization that can, that has a concept of technology and who knows. Anyways. So the question is, suppose that the Voyager eventually gets intercepted by another spaceship with aliens on it. Let's see. Yes, excellent. So this is the disc I'm talking about. So this is the sounds of the Earth. These are the instructions on the left. This is a list of sounds and compositions and composers and stuff. So the question is, suppose that
It's actually encoded in analog?
yeah,
Just like
like a vinyl.
Just like a vinyl record, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No digital.
No digital. Cool. So this is like
No language.
no language. These are the aliens that intercept the spaceship. They know math, physics, data structures, networks, dynamical systems, all this, but they have no idea of what music is. They don't have the evolutionary structure that led to music in humans. So, would they understand that this is something like a product of higher intellect that is given as a gift to them. Well, let's suppose that they know enough data that they can actually look at this as a data. And so let me kind of move back a little bit and talk about the data representation that I'm at the center of this approach that is networks. So networks are ways of representing the relationship between data points in a large set. Basically, you have each of these nodes of the network is a data point, in this case is an airport, and each line that you see in red is a connection between data points that means flights between different networks. So this is an example of a network of transportation. But networks
that is Delta.
maybe. You know, is that? Yes, I think it is that.
Vic was a Delta and a Lions pilot.
No, it's not. We have a big cluster of BMWs, right? in America, but Delta's a great airline.
Yeah, so the question is, so the networks can be applied to basically any kind of system that you have in mind. So can be used in the context of biology, of sociology, psychology, neuroscience, economics, any kind of culture. That you can actually use tools derived from data science, from network science, to make sense of many processes that belong, say, to like complex systems. Complex system meaning a system made of small parts that are independently working as an agent, but then when they come together, the combination of all of them gives rise to phenomena that are not possible on a single person, a single agent of this thing. So this is another network, this is another transportation network, but you have networks everywhere. So networks can be, there is a whole host of developments of theory of networks that allow you to treat networks in a way that you can extract actual information from them. And there are ways of describing the networks. And the two most important descriptors that I will be using in this lecture are the degree of the nodes, so how many connections you have in a network like this, node by node. You see nodes have many connections and nodes have very few connections, even in this particular representation here on the right. It's still going around. By the way, this is a network that is derived from the relationship between artists in Hungary. So this is the Hungarian art network derived from art between one of these sites. This is my social network from probably early 2010 when Facebook seemed allowed to download this data. It's very small at this stage because it was just started. But it's very interesting to see another characteristics of these networks. That is what is called the community structure. So you see that this network, there are nodes that are kind of clustered around particular areas. And if you go and look at what friends are, these friends over here, those friends over there, you see that these are all my kind of musicians friends, and these are all my Italian friends, and these are all my physicist friends. And so you see that by looking at the social structure through the lens of a network and using this kind of analysis, you can actually make sense of some more kind of underlying phenomenon that is like, oh, these people belong all to the same group and these people belong all to the other group. And this is going to be important later on when I talk more about music. Okay, so the other thing that on the opposite side is that we can look at music as a data system. And we have various spaces where we can talk about music as a data system because melody is a data system, harmony is a data system, orchestration is timbre. And so basically you can use this kind of data representation in any of these subspaces. So just kind of disclaimer, I will be talking about the Western classical music tradition, or in general Western music tradition, but these techniques can be applied to any kind of music tradition in general, and I'll talk about that later. So, what are the data points here? I mean, the first thing that one can say that every individual pitch is a data point, right? If I have a melody, every node in the melody can be a data point, and I can represent the melody through a network where I return to the same node if that node is played more than once, or I use other nodes to go from one node to the other. I can do more than that. I can actually combine all these nodes and make chords out of these nodes. And this is kind of a little bit inspired by the library Bubble by Haoyi Borges, where the library Bubble is a library that contains all the books that contain all the possible combination of all the possible letters of the alphabet in any order. So basically you can take all the letters and make imaginary words out of it, and you can do this in a combinatorial space with this amount. Well, we can do the same with notes. We can take all the notes of our scale, the ones that I showed before, and combine them in different groups, say couples, triples, quadruples, quintuples, and so on, and I make chords. This harmony space, as I call it, is enormous. I mean, if you have 12 nodes, it's not so much enormous if you reduce if you do some sort of symmetry reduction of the space. But if you take the keyboard or the piano and you think about all the possible combination of 88 notes that you have here, you get something 10 to the 26. There is more than the Avogadro number. So, in principle, you have an enormous space to explore. In practice, what you do, you don't ever start from a distribution of everything, unless you want to get some underlying information about the space, the geometrical space of music, but that's not really what I want to kind of focus too much today, so I'll skip probably the next couple of slides. But it becomes interesting when somebody, like a composer, takes the space and makes choices about what data points to take. So, just to kind of focus a little bit more on this geometrical model of the chord space, so the harmonic space. We can represent this space using vectors as chords, here on the left. And once you introduce this concept of vector representation, then you have a metric in your space. You can define a distance between chords as distance between vectors in mathematical and musical sense. Remember that here we are working with a very particular mathematical space, in the space of integer number modulo 12, because we have 12 pitches. So we have to kind of see how this periodicity will plays with these definitions. Okay, so in my representation of networks, nodes are the chords, and edges as defined by distance, or as you will see in a composition as kind of occurs. If the chord happens after a particular chord, then these two chords are connected, and so on. Go to the next one, the two are connected, and if the chord is repeated, then the connection goes back to the original node. So that some nodes have more connections, so they have a higher degree than others. It can get very messy if you expand your space. So this is a representation of a network of all the possible chords in a space that contains 24 pitches, not 12. So we assume that instead of having only notes and sharp and flats, we also have quarter tones, so quarter sharp and quarter very common in many musical traditions that you don't have third pitches in your scale, you might have 19 or 36 or whatever. So in a way, this one, for instance, would be a network that would apply to some Indian musical culture, musical traditions. In India, there are more pitches per minute than in Western scale. But I don't really want to talk much about this combined reality, but I want to show you something more. And let's look at this particular example. So how, what I'm doing, I'm taking natural composition. So I'm taking the work of a composer that takes some of this huge space and take some of these data points, these nodes, and put them together and write something. And let's start with what did I do here? Here I do the score, like musical score digitized in some format. I mean, it's not needed, but it's a format for digital presentation of symbolic music. I built a network out of this score. I fed it to a series of analytical tools for network science, and it came out with this representation. I didn't do anything myself. So the size of the nodes depends on the number of connections, so the degree, and this is automatically calculated by the tools. The colors are automatically assigned based on the community structure. I think I was showing you before on my social network from 2010. So you clearly see there are 3 areas in this network, and these 3 areas are actually they sound differently. So if you kind of listen carefully to how this chorale, this chorale evolved, you see that you start from the blue region and it plays in a particular key, then it goes to the green region, then it plays in a different key, and then it goes finally in the purple or pink region, and that's the final key that is where the disc goes. So just by doing an analysis based on techniques of network science, we get a representation that tells us something about the inner structure of the music. And actually, this is something that goes way farther than this. Here. And eventually, what I want to show you, and I go again a little fast here, I don't know how much you're familiar with this kind of music theoretical things, but basically, what we are seeing is the representation, through the network representation, is the emergence of tonal harmony. So tonal harmony is an emergent property of a network, or a score network, that is clearly, the composer has used those ideas and those theoretical tools to build this, but the network returns to us the kind of a universal structure that corresponds to the theories. So this one is another example where I'm showing you actually step by step what I'm doing with this kind of network, score network. I don't know how to build this score network. There is slices, force, make each of the slices a chord, then each chord is a data point, and then goes as a node in the network, and then the score network is formed. This is for with all the string quartet, so different keys, but the structure is again very similar. And there are like 4 central properties that emerge from this representation: centricity, referentiality, directedness, and hierarchy. So you see that there are degrees, the degrees distribution, you see that there are nodes that are more important than others. You see that there are more quality classes, so that there is a separation of areas of, like in the previous piece. There is, the network is directional, so you have an asymmetric distribution of nodes where the nodes go more in one direction than in the other. And there is a mutual relation between the modularity classes and the degree distribution, so that within each modularity class you still have this kind of degree distribution. Now, these kind of networks have a name. They are called scale-free networks, and these are like networks that were basically introduced first by Balalas himself, who is work with Rekal in the 1990s. And they actually are extremely important networks to represent real systems, like social networks and economics networks.
Political networks.
Political networks and such. Now, the thing is that these 4 properties that belong to this class of networks are actually the 4 properties that define tonal harmony. So in music theory, tonal harmony is governed by 2 central chords, because you are in, the song is in a key and you stay in that key, so that chord is more important than the others. There is a hierarchical structure, there is a preference for asymmetric chord progression. You tend to finish on the C major. If your piece is in C major, you don't stay on the E flat line. And so, basically what we are seeing here is the emergence of tonal harmony, or at least the representation of tonal harmony as an emergent property of the network. That comes from the fact that the network here is being constructed in using a model that assumes these 4 pillars that are intrinsic to this theory. And this comes back later in terms of the composition, because this becomes a compositional tool, and it has a very important kind of connection with the way in which we hear music. Because this idea of regions and centrality, it's central to any music tradition, and it has something to do with our way of cognitive processes that happen when we hear music. So we tend to be drawn towards a repetition that is not repetitive, to go back to a central point, to reinforce our perceptions, and so on. So there is a very interesting connection between this particular structure and the way in which our brains operate in listening and understanding. So the other way of looking at the score here is to take a different perspective. Instead of between networks, we look at the score as a time series. And we see what kind of information we can get from the analysis of the time series. So here I'm using tools that are, are typical in economics, for instance. You have the stock market, it's a time series. Can you predict what happens after, if you know the values for weeks, what happens before weeks? Or you analyze sections of the time series to learn about what events have influenced the time series in the particular trading time frame. So you do the same as before, you slice the score, but now instead of assigning a node, you assign a single index to your vectors, and then you build this time series like this. you use segmentation algorithms. Again, this is nothing that I'm not changing anything in this. I'm just taking raw data, feeding them to known analytical techniques, and get results out of it. So I do a segmentation algorithm. I see 10 regions here. I go and look at the 10 regions. I cannot go into the presentation mode.
There's probably a PowerPoint.
I do this.
You know how to play it?
Yeah, I do that. So this is well, it's okay.
What are you trying to do?
No, because there was an overlay of two images. I took out the first one. So basically, what you see here, something is better on the TV actually. It will be better if you follow. So what you see here is the internal network structure for each of the segmentations of the previous segmentation that I showed before. So each of these regions here has a network structure, and then here is the network structure that you see.
Alignment, boldness.
Sorry?
Alignment, boldness, question. The different series and happens to
Yeah.
the different languages.
No, but that's not one. This is actually a time series. This happens at this time, then this happens at that time, and then we segment the series in chunks of different times. So
Chunk is the same, right?
the chunks are not the same. The chunks depend on the segmentation. So depend on the characteristics of the data for a particular segment.
That's why, because of this irregularity, you get to see that because even in language, Balmer question series, you don't need the same energy levels for one atom to move to another. That's why the irregularity that is seen over here, I could relate it to that. That's why I wasn't very
I should look at this, but it's not that I'm looking at irregularities here, I'm looking at groupings.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now in that sense, yes.
The data is the same.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the grouping and the presentation
Yeah.
are different.
So anyways, this is, I mean, you can do a lot of stuff once you know this, because you can analyze the piece of music in terms of the different segments, and you can relate this to music theory analysis and musicological observation. So there's a whole thing that you can do in music that I will not discuss in here, but for which I have papers that if you are interested. So, but the thing here is, once you realize that there is this kind of underlying structure, can I use this to make something different? And so in order to do something different, I need first of all to realize a way of navigating all the points on this network. Because if I want to start from scratch, I can then write a score that has a sequence. And for that, I can use the optimization problem, that is stuff that computer scientists know very well. Very hard problems, but for small set of data, they are solvable. And so this is an example of the process that I can use. So I can generate a scale-free network, and this is generated. Like again, there are some algorithms that generate scale-free networks. Then you assign a distribution, of course, to the nodes. And in this case, I'm using the same hierarchy of the core distribution from the back corral. I run the optimization algorithm to find the path that basically has involved the sequence of course displaying the song, and then I use that to run this. And this is an example that compares the original chorale here with an artificial chorale with a passing number.
Good, just a
Oh, wait. This is makes sense. Same kind of, the kind of topology of the network, same node distribution, we put it together to make sense. Now, I'm definitely not interested in using the music of any other people. And one of the reasons why I'm developing all this is because I don't want to write music using my prior knowledge of music. And so, what you heard, for instance, in the video piece, in the visual piece before, in the multi-tuning, is actually it's written as a, musically speaking, it's made of 5 different sections. Each section utilizes a particular approach based on some particular networks, and the music is generally composed by an algorithm that uses a library that I wrote in Python. Basically, the whole performance of the system going over here is it's a performance where I have 82 tracks of vocal samples from the same singer, and I'm getting the samples to be played to a final score that is more than 2,000 lines code that basically constructs this kind of networks, but on distributions of notes and chords that are defined in different ways. So this is no more the kind of the tonal harmony that we know from the past. This is a completely different approach that uses the same material but in a completely different context. And so this is how this piece is doing. And this is what I'm saying, telling you that the things that you see on the screen are actually extremely connected with what you are hearing in the music. And so to conclude, I just want to mention that you can see, but I'm also an external professor at the San Institute, where I lead a working group on music complexity, and we have annual meetings where in the business meetings where we are a group of composer, physicists, musicologists, music theorists, psychologists, neuroscientists, cognitive scientists, social scientists. There is, it's extremely, it's a little bit of a body models on steroids. The idea is it's extremely fascinating to see how many different things can emerge. Connection between behavioral biology and jazz improvisation. There's a friend of mine who studies jazz improvisation and has demonstrated that when in free jazz, when you have a group of professional improvisers that improvise on themselves, so they don't have a preset score, or preset chart. The way in which the music evolves follows the same pattern that wild animals follow when they have to when they look for food, foraging networks. So there are events where there is one of the musicians that kind of wire off the group, and then depending on where it finds itself, the group follows or not. So either you have a movement like this or a movement back into the group. And this is exactly what wild animals do when they're looking for food in the savannah, for instance.
So a gig is a foraging exercise.
It's a foraging exercise. So you see all connections on many different scales. We are working on a paper that is called The Music as a Complex Evaluative System, where we explore all this complexity across scales. So from the complexity of the score that I showed you today to the complexity of the performance, where you have interaction between performers that that shape the musical result and so on. But I can talk for hours here. But I think I'd better stop and get questions from you guys.
We're not allowed to turn the lights on.
That's on Mark's.
Yeah, you can, it's beautiful, come on.
Why, you can only ask questions in the light?
I'm afraid of the dark.
Oh, okay. That's your person.
I was an astronomer for too long. And
So we have to suffer.
too many hours walked to an observatory zone.
Okay, so let's-
Anyway, going back to the astronomy, just a very short note here. So my talk typically ends with this, that you know, at a certain point we got this mysterious radio signal from nearby stars, and my question for you guys is going to be music from the Martians?
Yeah.
You don't understand?
That was a question. That was a question over wine last night. That if aliens were going to communicate with us, what mode of communications would that be? And I guess Close Encounters of the Third Kind has already postulated that it would be that would be music. But I'd like to think it might be a Coltrane lick or something.
Yes.
That brought us together. Or George Clinton's One Nation Under a Groove, you know, might be the. But I think music could be one of those universal languages that transcends galactic boundaries.
I have comments on your video, but also on this, but I'll ask them in 2 parts because it's so long. I like your intro for the music video, like how it starts with the planet and then turns into like grid dots that are percolating into like a huge structure, and it reminded me of like the brain forming new connections, and I thought it was like learning a new language, like how the vocals, the phonemes come in.
So let me tell you, the timeline of the video was originally conceived by Laszlo, and it's actually a kind of an anthology and of history or evolution of what happened in his lab over the last 20 years. So starting from 2 points that join the idea when you have networks that are lattices, so grids, and then from the grids the EA networks emerge.
Yes.
So what was happening there were actually EA networks.
This is now a performance.
And as a matter of fact, the chord distribution for those networks were actually factorized. I was using the same idea that I used with this Immerse, but using this representation.
Go ahead, Ben. Professor, what's the English translation of your Italian title?
Oh, it's the solitude of the multitudes.
Solitude.
Okay, just for those of you that
You can turn on the light. You can turn on.
turn the lights on someone.
Evan, could you hit one of the bars over there? Thank you, brother.
And Andrew, maybe you could introduce.
Yeah, I will. But I'm waiting for Professor Nardelli to finish. Any other questions, youngins?
I do have one.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Have you gathered data on what people feel or experience on the first video? Like, do they feel more connected? Do they feel more desperate? What was inspired the first video?
No, so from this point of view, I was only at the opening of this exhibition in Milan, so I talked with people in general, but I don't think that there is any particular, I don't know.
Right.
Did you have any particular emotion?
Well, sort of like what Clement was mentioning, connections to your brain, and then trying to learn something, and then some sort of being in a open space with people and then not being there from the voices.
Yeah, in a way, the idea is still, the idea of the music, at least the story that I'm trying to tell with the music is kind of that. So building connection, but also being alone in in a multitude. And you probably heard that there are words in the last section. The words are written by the soprano who I recorded the samples, who's also a poet. And they kind of echo these feelings.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up on Alejandro. So I met Laszlo Barabasi in the 1990s when he was developing this mathematics. And so as I was listening and watching, I kind of knew what was coming. Because I remember watching his videos of just now.
Yeah. I mean, he does. He's actually he doubles as a visual artist.
But I remember watching the video with no sound, and then he'd explain how the structures were forming, and the directionality of the links, and all that kind of thing. So, I was basically having intellectual anticipation as I was listening, not an emotional one.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts?
None that
You're
are.
studying neurobiology at the moment, so.
I mean, I could. So yeah, because I'm studying neuroscience, of course, all I see is neurons and neurotransmitter vesicles and chemical reactions when I do it. No real questions. The only thing I would say is, I know you said, we're designing this for a creature that maybe doesn't have an idea of music, but I kind of feel like life necessitates, like just something about life, the music is innate to it. At least all life we've come across. Even plants will grow towards vibrations.
Yes.
It's a pattern.
My music theorist colleagues would disagree because music has, a particular connotation that exists only in human society. So you cannot say that we call it music, but it doesn't have all the qualities and characteristics of human music, the one that animals do. Mostly from the social and higher kind of level, intellectual point of view. But yeah, I agree that the sound is part of everything.
Okay, who wants to pretend to be an intellectual before our next speakers tell us who they are?
I have a question.
Yeah, you pretend to be an intellectual.
Yes, I'm trying to be an intellectual. Right now I'm studying animal communication. And usually animals communicate to find a mate. So this music is for like an alien. Are you trying to?
No, this is not. This is just a line that I use for.
Yeah, alien love. Alien seduction. Yes, that's a good topic. No, but it's really interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Go ahead. Clem has the final word.
I do have two critiques or questions. One of them is like for the song, there's 5 sections, but while the voices, the samples are the same, it doesn't feel coherent. Like each section sounds like it could be its own song, and I think you should have some sort of like interlude or like mixes between the sections.
I think that, it depends on your aesthetics, but I think that it works for this piece because of the coherence that the samples give. And if you listen carefully, there are 3/3, there are samples that are used in some sections and not in others, but then there is kind of in the last section there are some samples that are used in the first one that come back, and there is all kind of a more musical structure that emerges. And this, originally this is conceived for a multi-channel system.
Okay, let's freeze this moment for 1 second. Okay, I want you to do a quick flashback from last week. Did you notice that boss level defense of his artistic idea against your question?
Yeah.
Or to your question?
Yeah.
Okay, learn that game. Learn that. That's what game looks like.
Okay.
Okay.
I was on there last week.
No. It's like we call it one of those teachable moments, right?
Yes.
Where
I passed.
No. Of course, you didn't beat you up if you failed, but it was, see, if I say it, they don't hear it, but this was an example of something that we talked about in real time, in natural.
My second critique is when you talked about Bach and you played Bach's music and then your artificial version, it does. You said it does have the same topology. I'm okay, this has the same feel, but it feels you have someone take a picture and compose the object in the shot versus someone who puts things randomly.
You should have listened to this blindly, and then I should have asked you which one was Bach.
You should do that next time.
Okay. Artificial music.
That was spectacular. Roger, you want to make introductions? No, really do it. Okay, yeah, okay. I'd like to say one of the greatest pleasures and joys you can have as a teacher, and I don't like that word, I like being as a mentor, is that you get to see folks that you worked with at an earlier stage of your career go on and become professionals in their own right. And tonight, or this afternoon, we have some guests from out of town. Jimmy, he's a watering hole sort of expert. He's been here before and presented in this forum, all the way from the X. And what did you talk about the last time you were here?
Last time I came, I spoke about my recent documentary film, which was being presented over here. I remember sitting here. Yeah, and it was about lithography.
Okay, very good. But he comes from a large and august artistic family. His mother.
You have friends that are related to me.
Right, and he has lots of friends in high places here. They being neighbors of Professor Molina's, and they have connections that way. But more explicitly, for me, his brother Serge Rufato, and also Andrew Humke. These are what Professor Scott disciples look like 10 years later. 10 years later, or my youngins, who are now my peers in the artistic game.
Seriously, when Andrew taught somewhere else before he came
here? Yeah.
Where was that?
It was at the Savannah College of the Arts and Design.
And which ones of you went there?
And Serge went there, and Andrew went there.
And I remember when I first moved here, I talked to Andrew Scott, and he was going to a stone quarry in France to work with someone.
Yeah.
What was that?
I forget who it was back there.
No, literally, you were working with one. You wanted to go to a stone quarry. Where they had marble pieces.
They had CNC machines
What?
They had robotic control bandsaws that they used to cut
marble.
I'm that kind of nerd. I'm not going to try to describe this. Andrew, tell us about your work.
Yeah, I guess as I've been kind of growing, I've been painting a lot of large-scale oil paintings, and I've been kind of experimenting with fresco paint the last few years.
Fresco?
Yeah, so...
cave paintings?
Not so much, but yeah, basically it's learning the technique, and yeah, I've been lucky enough to try it a few times in some, I guess, residences or whatever, so I'm kind of learning that chemical process and how it works, and technique.
Brandon is a health and safety engineer, so he can solve your...
He's sitting there going,
For the most part, I just work oil canvas. Yeah, I've been full time for about 5 years. It's fun. Yeah.
Where do you live in?
I live in Austin.
So he's close by.
Yeah,
He's right over here.
Sir, did you bring anything for us to look at?
I don't.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
No, but tell them what I feel is the most interesting aspect of your practice that I just love, admire, and makes warms my heart to degrees you may not appreciate or understand, but it does. We talked about it a little bit last night.
Well, I mean, I guess I can talk about my work a little bit as it's involved, but
okay, I'm going to ask you to repeat the question you asked me over Yeah, this group would have you better answer than I have.
He can project it on the computer. Oh, no, that's part of the...
Okay, space nuts, listen in.
I work a lot through drawing, so I work through my drawings, and then as I'm working on my paintings, I begin painting based on the paintings that I create. I work with a lot of similar motifs, so as my work progresses, then I kind of...
So why did you ask them that question last night?
Which question? I asked you a bunch of them.
I think it had to do with aliens.
I asked you if you believed there was life outside of this planet.
I love it.
And you said that you're an atheist, so you couldn't answer that.
But the most interesting, Andrew's not going to say it, so I'll have to put it on the table for him. The most interesting aspect of his practice, and I absolutely love it, is that, there's very little technology other than the traditional technologies that are employed to produce the work that are used in his work. So
wait a minute.
Yeah, no computers. He hasn't stuck the plug in, man. And I love it. You're old school, man.
Yeah, I still gotta get the laptop.
No, you're not allowed to, man. You're not allowed to. It's all a mess. That's wonderful, and actually, it's a beautiful thing, especially in this. So Haoyi, you have a kindred spirit that made the decision not to plug in and surviving very well. Haoyi is also a painter. She's a painter.
Just so you know what's going on, she's making a sketch every 20 minutes that embodies the discussion of this group. Here, just flip some of the sketches. Just really quickly.
Yeah, this is on the third floor, and this sketch is just for classmates 6 people on this room. And this is for Professor.
That's Marco.
She got you, Marco.
And this is for
Sir, what kind of file we have? Or you got just the website?
JPEG. Go back.
Where are they?
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so that one was that.
yeah, and I put some content from
So the neurons are escaping someone's brain.
Okay, our next guest is Serge Ruffato, as I said, who was hello, who had this pleasure of working with at the Savannah College of Art Design, and also we collaborated on a residency project that I did many years ago in Behind the Walls in Luca. Yeah, we built a large-scale cardboard sculpture together there with Katrina, and it was like one of those wonderful sort of events. And like I said, the best part of the game is after we're out of this context and we can operate in the real world, and I see them flourish and do their thing and actually eat, right? Right? Yeah, good. These got students, they get to eat, you know, if they listen. So what do you have to share with us today?
Is he going to project it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Enough there. Give me your deal, so.
Yes.
This is why knowledge.
Let's do this. What kind of network? The projector. Connect the projector. Oh, you don't have HDMI?
You can send it by email as well.
No. I got the answer for that.
We're hearing set up. Okay, everybody needs to leave, so that's fine. You will take a phone call to come back.
Yeah, just grab something to eat, you know, drink it while we work on this technology.
And no, but seriously, this is now an opportunity just to us getting set up. Okay, how many people here are computer science students? One. How many are art students? How many are business students? I think we have a mixed crowd.
Yeah, a mixed crowd. That's called diversity.
How many are faculty?
Sometimes.
How many are students? How many are staff? He's got both hands up. Okay, we have a political scientist in the room. What other questions should I ask Aiden?
So, are we
How many females in the room?
Oh yeah. Demographics.
We were at 3.
Okay, so now we're down to 1, right? 1 female.
How many what?
Females.
Mujeres.
Yeah, so we're proving the painting, right?
How do you mean you were in this together?
You can.
I will stay at the end of this.
Okay, do we have a computer going? Not quite yet? No.
You want to play a game, Roger, or something? Or a game?
What?
I said, you want to make a game or something like that? Spend the time with it?
No, this is a university. You know, you cannot have new ideas, good ideas, listening to professors. So, okay, Alejandro, just tell us. Okay, next week it's the Martian Challenge in the gallery. But we're now working on AI, the arts and humanities driven. And to our knowledge, this is the first new AI development where all that matters is that it's excellent art and it follows the knowledge of the humanities. Explain.
So yeah, we want to create an AI mostly focused on the experience and the human interaction with it, back and forth between the AI and the human. We don't want to create a solve-it-all gadget, mostly about the experience. And one of the features that it's going to have is that everything that it learns, someone taught it. So it's not downloading a bunch of data online, but it's everything that you interact with it will learn. And it also has an open memory, so you can track back who taught it a certain piece of information. And so
two art students.
We have
part of Andrew's lab.
They're not part of Andrew's labs. They are part of S.B. Randall's lab. They're both students. One of them is a master's student, another one is an undergrad. We're building one of the artists, Sagayam and Kirsten, and they are developing a sculpture mostly of interactive sculpture with as an embodiment of the AI.
So there'll be an artwork which doesn't look like a human, but somehow interacts with what you say or what it's feeling.
Yes. Something key for a project is that we don't want to impose anything in it. We can't say that the AI is going to be gentle or is going to be mean or so. We just want to give the capability of doing all those things in the future.
So the AI will express different emotions
Imagine if you are very mean to a baby all his life. We want it to be able to express that anger or that happiness, but not impose anything ourselves. To cry, yeah. If it feels like it. I'm not sure I want my son to cry when I ask him to cry. But yeah.
Okay, we have a technical glitch.
It's me, programmer, two other programmers, three.
Hey, say hi to the camera.
Success and stuff. Yeah. Great. Yeah, we come from
It's just happened by chance. You didn't have to go deliberately find
people that come. We have 2 engineers that are going to help build the robot, and they.
What's going to be ready? Are you going to have anything maybe to show on our?
We showed on.
You want to show something on our?
We don't have anything by that. No. We will until the end of the semester. Right now it's only software and concepts. But yeah. Can you please record someone else, Mr. Seth?
The audio is mainly receiving both of your voices, so. It's not super zoomed in. We got our boys, Roger, and a fellow student.
Okay, we have liftoff.
Melina, you want to say anything to the camera? Anyone? Want to say hi? Alright. Clement?
Professor Nardelli. It's a it's the development of the arts humanities, not basically staying away from business engineering. Like creating anything else, stay I'll introduce people.
Alright, I will.
Actually, because I don't think it's enough battery. Keep it connected. Keep it connected. It turns off right there.
Who can I interview? Hold on. Mind start a conversation. Start to fix the camera right here. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Delicious looking meal. No, but so you used to be a student 10 years ago?
No. I came here. I think it was 6 months ago. And so he invited me to present. I was showing my film just next door in the alumni center. Yeah, I made a documentary about an artist who worked in photography.
Funny enough, I'm working on a documentary right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it's a short documentary. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. It's based on the Cube Cinemas and Mars project that they worked on during the summer. They make houses on beyond. And for a challenge, continue this conversation. This is done. Because I'm really interested in the film business. So.
Alright, okay.
Okay, folks. One more okay, folks. We're listening. Stop. I just ran out of okay, folks. All right, folks. Okay. I turn the floor over to our guest, Sir Rufado.
So I'm Sergio Rufado. I was born and raised in Aix-en-Provence, France. I was best friends with Yuri Molina, which is Roger's little son. And then I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, met Andrew Scott. We started out with direct metal sculpture.
Yeah.
So it was more of the then yeah, we had a good session in that class. And then I did dabble in 3D printing with, I did a little more than dabble with digital applications. But today I'll speak about what I've been doing ever since I graduated, and I used my metal sculpture knowledge to start an artist career. So I graduated in 2012. Upon graduation, I was going to figure drawing classes where the model was constantly moving through the space rather than holding the pose. I was sketching the experience of motion of a figure through space rather than this static appearance. So it's a gestural drawing, meaning that it's few lines that captures the essence of the subject. And being a sculptor, I was looking for a way to translate that into 3 dimensions, into material.
Yeah, it was a new sale at 29. Up and down?
The machine has a mind of its own. So that's where I started my sculptural series 10 years ago, translating gestural drawings into metal. I use a strip of brass, so this is all one length. The idea is for it to look like a ribbon that's flying in the wind, suddenly taking the shape of a subject and capturing it in metal. So I use metal forging techniques, essentially an oxyacetylene torch, oxygen and acetylene to mix, create combustion. It's a large flame that I can adjust to the right temperature. I heat. The advantage is I can heat a couple inches at a time. So it's one curve at a time, basically. I heat it, and then I pull it down for it to become sturdy again, and I can keep moving forward. So for a piece like that, the proportions are really important. The human figure is one of the most complex things to draw just because of the proportions. And lucky enough, I'm going for abstraction, so I'm doing the margin.
How long does it take you to
So the shaping of the metal,
the whole thing?
The shaping of the metal I do in a day because it's to keep the idea of continuity, the line spontaneous quality, and then there's all the finishing details that take another couple days. Because when I work, the metal tarnishes, and so I have to brush it and polish it and do all the fun detailing. And then the base is marble, or this one's granite actually. That's another.
But how long did it take you to develop the skills to be able to work at that?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. See, everyone says, you know, oh, how long did that take you?
Yeah.
Oh, it took me a day.
Yeah.
But it took me 30 years to be able to produce every day.
Yeah.
At least 10,000 hours. Oh, yeah.
How tall are this?
That one's more tabletop.
Okay.
This side, but I do make larger pieces. I did the presentation. I have a few examples. This is another example of a sketch that was translated into sculpture. And then at that point, so I was really focusing on the figure and looking at my gestural drawings and mimicking them in metal. And I realized at one point that I was taking the richness out of the spontaneous quality of the immediacy of a sketch on paper. And that's when I was comfortable with the process, and I realized, well, I should just look at the metal in front of my eyes as a drawing line, and the red hot metal, treating it as a drawing line literally, and reminding myself that it's a drawing line. So I opened up into a whole new array of subjects. This is still figurative, but that's when I went into the representation of light, the representation of the sunlight. Like in this piece where the sun rays are weaving themselves into the cypress trees of Provence in the south of France, where I realized that the sun was just an essential source of energy and part of my life. And without a couple of days without sun, I was miserable. You know? So, and just the opening of possibilities of representing light is even more abstract than the movement of a figure. So the one just before was still one length. I was really focusing on that one length quality. And the coloring is the very green, which is the patina. So it's still the same length. If you look real closely, I loop down and make that cypress tree and pick up the light again. So one part of the strip is polished and the other one is patina. This is the only
And the patination is when you use a chemical process to change the color of the metal. It could be cold or hot.
And then I thought, well, I'm not bound to the one length. I can weld, I can add pieces, I think a big part of my work, or I know a big part of my work, is finding a challenge, finding something challenging technically. It's always driving me. How is it possible? What's the limit of the material? Where can I bring this material? Can I weave with it? Can I weave metal? Where's finding that limit is the crux for me and sort of instructs my, and then there's larger scale, so that's been a fun process too when I do these art shows. So I was having an art show in Preston Hollow last night. Yeah, we've been coming to Dallas. Yeah, exactly. Could be, no, it's art. Does it have to have a name? No. It's, it doesn't move like this. It's part of my son's series, but I like different interpretations. The inspiration is the sunshine, but the result is an art piece. It's a sculpture, so it's free to be interpreted. This, I think, the next picture. Yeah, let's show you some. So, is that all one piece? Yeah, this one, the horses are all one piece. And yeah, that's been. So I graduated in 2012, like I said, and I began working for my mother, who is an artist, and she's an American from Atlanta, Georgia, and she moved to France. She paints the landscapes of Provence, and comes to the U.S. to show the paintings and to sell their work. She's been doing that for a long time, so when I graduated, I started working for her as a logistics guy, just hanging paintings, driving, and doing all that, and then little by little, I brought some artwork and started showing my sculptures along with the paintings, and now it's been 10 years that we're in business together. We come to the U.S. twice a year, and we do like 6 shows in 6 cities in 6 weeks. It's sort of going great. We are in Dallas every fall.
Okay, hold on a second. We have a business student here, Omer. So here's an example of an artist who's making a living. Does that go to the business one?
Yes, nice.
Okay, so but the tactic that he used, he became a slave to his mother, doing logistics, and then he used that as a stepping stone. But they traveled together to share costs, travel costs, and so where else do you go every year? Apart from you go to Atlanta, Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas, we do Oxford, Mississippi next, then we do Raleigh, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Virginia Beach.
He makes enough money to travel.
So that's true, we share the expenses.
Did you take any business classes in the high school?
No, just my business class with my mother.
The high school doesn't have business classes either, and Omer is trying to keep great connection.
Yeah.
Anything you want to ask about how to make a living as an artist?
Yeah, so this passion started in college.
Yeah.
How did it end up becoming something that you wanted to do full time? How did you, and how did you turn it, I guess, into this business and now you're actually making money?
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I don't know. Do we really make decisions in our lives to our future? We just follow and try our best. I think for the best things that have happened in my life are the things that I didn't. There we go. What's that? That's back when I had a great haircut.
He didn't know what he was going to do.
Challenge of Scott.
Oh, jeez.
I spent my first degree here at UT Dallas in the teens was at JSON.
Oh, teen years.
2010 to 2020.
From like 08 to 13. So in the business school, the sub-school or department that artists should, they're all great, but there's one particular department called entrepreneurship that I consider the pediatrics of the business school. Right? For a medical school analogy is the study of babies and early growth. So innovation, if you're going to become a successful artist, professional artist like these gentlemen, the MBA perspective would be, entrepreneurship, right? And entrepreneurship can be anywhere from a single person or a partnership all the way up to large organizations, large corporations. So I offer that as kind of an MBA perspective on art.
No, they just branched out to BSB because when I first came to my team, they didn't offer the degree you plan on taking, but now I actually take classes in the entrepreneurship and innovation in neuroscience.
Very cool.
So,
Neuroscience is very cool.
Innovation in neuroscience.
Very cool.
So like
How long ago has neuroscience and music? Now we have.
No, but innovation, I mean, it's all connected. So, in one of the big questions that people ask in one of the South Institute is like, okay, but how do we quantify innovation? What is innovation? How do we quantify this? What is the process? What are the underlying structures or mechanisms? You look at this in any subject.
So, if I may, have you gotten to a point as a professional artist where you're starting to get some actual commissions from patrons who are actually
Writing checks.
writing some checks?
I saw somebody like a crime scene last night.
There's a lot of patron money in Preston Hollywood, so.
Usually once they walk in, you don't let them out until they run the check. Put Andrew Scott at the front of the door and kudos to check. What's interesting of the way that my mother built a business is that we don't work with galleries, so she realized that she met my father, who's French, and they got married, and she was sending her work to the U.S. to a gallery to be represented. And they said, well, if people like to meet the artists, you should come, and it'd be nice if you, so she would come all the way to the U.S. and invite her friends, and she realized that once she did all that, and she had to give 50% to the gallery, she was bringing all the people, so she said, she said, all I need is a space. I don't really need, because I'm bringing the people, I'm bringing the art, so she began showing it to private homes. She was having with my friends. Yeah, but it's a more warming environment, and so people feel more comfortable, and they invite their friends. And instead of giving 50% to a gallery, we give 10% to the local charity, and so that's what she did 30 years ago, and now it's been our business model.
MBA speak, that's called eliminating channels. Going direct to
exactly.
Here's a picture of my colleague Andrew Humphrey over there. From the way back machine.
Wow.
Back when we had the dreadlocks.
Hold on a second, he's wearing the same shoes.
I can't believe you have these pictures, man.
Look at that.
That's the famous. There's another one of you.
From different stages of the route.
Yeah, there we go.
very flattering.
Very
exactly.
That was beginning So, there was a time where there weren't necessarily you guys. I thought you did it, guys. It's a floating sculpture. Talk a little bit about this. It's kind of interesting.
How I did it.
The project was to, we started with a maquette. And you take it from there.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So I was a painting major, so I was doing these charcoal drawings and these like.
Yeah.
I was doing these block drawings, kind of these portraits, and then I started messing around with the wood blocks and the maquette. So I was working a lot of this came from drawings. Is how I pretty much started. I was trying to figure out how the shape would go, and so I did the maquette or whatever. And
then you put legs on it.
Well, that came at the end, kind of, because I don't know. It took me all quarter to pretty much build it, and then it kind of morphed into this different idea of I wanted to know these continents. So this kind of took the shape of it. Somehow it took the shape of Africa. If you see it in person, it has the shape of it. So I kind of took on that.
I know somewhere in this photo stream, I have an image from that art opening on Bay Street. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Me and Sergio.
Yeah.
I remember those drawings, right?
Yeah.
Big charcoal drawings.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in that vibe. This was my junior year or something, and I was kind of just in that kind of idea. So then I just had the idea to make all of the 7 continents, but I never got around to it. But, it was
Well, the young lady in the background, Mel Bennett, she's in Asheville, North Carolina.
I remember her.
And she's doing metal sculptures of animals and stuff like that.
I think I see her on Instagram.
Yeah. She's like, and the other young lady, I forget her last name, but she's in working in the actual department at the Metropolitan Office.
Wow.
Crazy. She's on this crushing game. I can become old and destitute because all I want to take care of it all day. Yeah, but thanks a lot, for questions. Come on, now let's ask some questions for these living artists.
I think the speaker has another slide to show.
Yeah, another slide.
Good. Just kind of what I got put together. I could speak of the 3D printing that I have been doing.
I
have images, but okay, on my Instagram now. Be sure to check out the Instagram. So I do foundry as well. I'm sure you guys do. Everybody knows the difference between forging and foundry. The forging, the metal is never liquid. It's just hot enough, red hot, that it softens and you shape it. The foundry, the metal is liquid. So you gotta have mold making. So it's a different, whole different world, whole different technique.
And, Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll find you that.
Yeah, Andrew's Instagram is great. He's got some cool stuff. Yeah.
We'll find you that.
That's all right.
Yeah, show off. You don't have to show that compliment 10 years ago. Good stuff.
Show good stuff.
Don't hold
that. That was
What's your Instagram handle?
Yeah.
My first and last, Andrew Hunke, HUNKE.
Might need to follow you or something. I'm not logged on here.
We might want to hear some Professor Scott stories back then. Later on, what do you remember about it?
I only had him for sculpture one because I didn't take too much 3D classes because I was mostly in painting classes, so we did have to take 3D design and then just I selected to the sculpture one. And we learned some basic joinery things and welding.
There's some of your work right here.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's some good,
Wow, nice one.
Is this on?
Was it a museum?
France, yeah.
It was a contemporary museum.
I'm lucky that I show with this gallery, so I'm represented by this gallery in Marseille. kind of like a collective, so it's kind of like an artist. Southward Studio.
Oh, there we go. Can't hide from me, man. You might not do technology, but I do.
Yeah, so this was the show we had in 2019. It was my first museum exhibition. I had a big room that I did some big paintings for. Yeah, it was cool. There was a lot. Sergio had a piece in there, and
how come I never get into this show?
Yeah,
you're on the computer tonight. I guess so. I'm gonna take my computer over.
This is kind of like the beginning of this. This is kind of.
Yeah, you should check his Instagram out more recently.
Work is kind of transformed. This is kind of the beginning.
I can't walk into Instagram on this machine.
This was kind of the beginning of my interest in motif and ancient civilizations and different frescoes and churches and God and things like this. So we're kind of just getting into just, I don't know, different motifs of the Mediterranean world and the ancient world, and kind of bringing, I mean, a lot of them are kind of in the background of a lot of paintings, it's mostly biblical scenes or whatever, and then they have motifs in the background. Kind of been following. Okay. This is a series of small paintings I did. I tend to work fairly large. Just that's how I think. I don't know. It just helps me work.
They look Middle Eastern.
Yeah. I look at a lot of Assyrian and.
That was just about to ask.
But these are pretty small, just little paintings that they asked me to do some small works because they are a little easier to sell. It's just how it is, and we kind of educated that in a way, which is fine. It was a good experience. I think I did 40 of these, just using the same 3 or 4 different kind of symbols, and I kind of combine them in different ways and different colors and different things. And then, then I make my big paintings, and then here and there I get to paint frescoes, and that's really fun, but it is also hard to get practice on that. It's a lot of commitment to someone wants that. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm growing every day, getting better. I feel like I'm getting better as the last couple of years and kept going on. And
do you feel threatened by the AI?
No, I don't really think about it.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, me and Sergio had a bunch of shows.
Yeah, I told you I had that.
Back in the day, yeah.
First art show. Yeah, that was their first art show. 10 years ago.
Yeah, see, this was kind of what I was, from the sculpture you guys saw, was kind of what I was, this was a very different thing.
So you're not worried about AI taking away your job?
No.
Oh, because they're good artists.
And he's a fiction artist, doesn't have to worry.
Don't even
I mean, I feel like it's
Hollywood shut down.
No, you have to understand this. You have to understand this. This is the position, okay? That's like saying charcoal's going to take your job. It's not AI that's going to take anybody's job. It's going to be good artists that know how to use AI.
Exactly. I feel like it did take my job. I'm using it AI music.
No, seriously, still AI has the same role structure as music.
No,
AI won't enjoy the same kind of art.
Yeah, no, but you have to realize that what everybody is doing, right, is that they're trying to take the human interaction with the technology out of the equation. And that's the story. Yes. So they're burying the lead. It's never the technology. It's always the human interaction and the use of the technology. And because these folks are just putting the tools out there, and they actually don't have any idea about how the tools can actually be used. There's always this period of mimicry of old things and old structures, so that you understand the context under which the tool is operating. But as human beings, our primary inclination is, at some point, is to break all the rules and to make the tool do something that no one ever thought that it was designed to do. You know, and that's your challenge. Yes. You know, and it's not as if, you know, we all have to go marching like Frankenstein towards mid-journey. You can choose to incorporate these tools into your practice or not, you know, but it's never, that's like saying Kremlin is going to replace editors. You know, it helps. It helps, I guess, the Hollywood screenwriters would disagree. Well, no, you know what? And actually, I empathize with them. I empathize with them. But if they ever did something that was actually original, then you might want to, you know, get on their side and fight for them. Because you go to Hollywood pitching. Hollywood should be closed down. No, you go to Hollywood is better. No, you go to Hollywood pitching. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. We want a series, okay? We want to do a movie. Let's do like Finding Nemo meets Pulp Fiction, and we'll sprinkle in a little bit of Batman.
Unfortunately, realistically, that is exactly the watered down pitch that a lot of studios and a lot of production companies want from screenwriters. It's exactly that. Nemo meets Star Trek.
I was at the talk of George R. Martin, and he told the story how they teach the Game of Thrones series to the producers, and the pitch was The Sopranos and Middle Earth. There you go.
So it's like
and they go
it's the synecdoche pitch.
Right. It's always a synecdoche. It's always a synecdoche. But it's like I'm of an age, and many of us of age, when computer graphics first came out. Oh, and Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop.
And all the illustrators, painters, you know, wanted to fight against this new technology and rein it in some ways. And yes, we have to have laws around it so we can protect people's so-called intellectual property. Years of arguments about copyrights and how that's used to preserve the kind of systems that's used to preserve.
The other reference is in the 19th century, if you read the horrified people when photography was right. And then the Impressionists came out of nowhere and said, well, it doesn't look like that. You can't photograph it. Yes, calculators are